Hello. If you're like me and my clients, you probably feel like you've tried everything. And while we have tried everything under the sun, most of the plans and food approaches that we've tried assume that food is more powerful than we are. Spoiler alert, we are already powerful. However, our story has taken some of our power away, specifically in areas of our life where we aren't 100% confident in. However, we can reclaim all our power. In today's video, I'm going to share with you some healthy rebels who bravely chose to diagnose and look at their story and then courageously chose to own it to liberate themselves for their own truce with food. So thanks for being here, Lori. Now, several years ago, you were on the Oprah Winfrey Show, literally talking about how you didn't feel enough. And so how was it to discover that your story was the reason that you fell off track, not because you didn't have enough willpower or discipline?
It was about never being good enough. And I just thought that perfectionism it's the right way to be. You want everything to be perfect or as good as it can be. And I used to have these conversations with a good friend of mine, and she would say, why does everything have to be the best? Like, well, because why do it if it's not going to be? And I got stuck in that. And then after talking to you, realized, oh my God, that's my entire life gobsmacked. Like, I can't even describe. Every time I turned around and I dug deeper, I'm like, oh, here it is again. I'm like, okay, I get it.
So thanks for being here, Sarah. How did it feel to recognize that your story was the reason that you fell off track with eating, not because you didn't have enough willpower or discipline?
It was wonderfully validating and made me feel like I was not a failure, that it was not always my lack of control or inadequacy, lack of willpower, lack of whatever you call it, that made me fail. It was easier to see, well, this is what's driving my behavior, and let's look at this, and let's look at it without judgment and without I'm searching for a word, rancor, perhaps, without the self-recrimination. You know, let's just look at it like you would a symptom. You know, since I'm in the medical field, you know, like you would a group of symptoms. Let's just look at it, see where it takes us.
So, Christy, how did it feel to identify your story and recognize that that was the reason that your eating fell off track versus focusing on more willpower or discipline?
There was a huge sense of relief. Although the process was not a walk in the park, just turning that corner was very freeing and liberating. Hard to get there, but once it happened, I was like, oh, this feels good.
Yeah.
I have a lot more time and energy to focus on what I truly value, which is surprising. My personal relationships, my career, what I want out of life. I feel less distracted focusing on food because I now trust myself a bit more around the food. And because of that trust, there's a lot less worry and doubt and regret about like certain situations I'll be in. And so because of that, my food and health decisions are more in line with my goals and taking care of myself in general. And that becomes a little bit more natural rather than following someone else's directions or diet and obsessing over these rules. And then when I break these rules, I'm then like in trouble, or I'm putting like myself on blast for doing these things that are wrong. But without putting energy into these certain rules, I can just freely focus on things that make me happy. And a lot of new questions and new thoughts and ideas have come out because of that space. I didn't know about these other passions that existed. It kind of sounds like corny, but it's true.
Okay, Eva, so how did it feel to recognize that your story was the reason that you fell off track with your eating and not that you lacked willpower or discipline?
It was just like so eye-opening to finally see what's happening. And then it was just so liberating. So I could just stop blaming myself for like doing what I was doing. And I could see that there was a reason. And so it was eye-opening and liberating, other words, I would say.
Love that. So what has changed in terms of your food and health by focusing on owning your story rather than moving to another food plan or trying to add more food rules to your life?
I think I'm just not overthinking it as much anymore. So there used to be much more rules and regulations and much more time thinking about what I eat or why I eat something, which is now like out of the picture.
Thank you so much for being here, Krista. So what has changed in your life as a result from your food? Let's start with your food and your health. What has changed as a result of owning your story and doing that bittersweet, challenging work that eventually turns to more sweet?
It does. Truce With Food is sort of this subtle, like, starting to really look at my life and all the aspects more than just food. So really what's changed with food is I'm not as crazy about it. I'm not crazy around it. I try to just more take care of myself. And I used to think, well, that's such BS when people would say, oh, I'm just here to take care of I'm just self-care, taking care of myself. But I really, it's just sort of a different feeling of like, just sort of accepting things. Like I accepted that I never had a period. I accepted that my hair was thin or that I had acne. So those are the things I just sort of was like, oh, that's just my lot in life. And so now I'm sort of exploring, like, maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. And maybe, I can sort of start to experiment and feeling better and things like that. Of learning like what my body feels like.
What's changed in your life as a result of actually dealing with why you were going into the pantry in the first place?
Oh my God. Wait, I don't think we have enough time. Everything has changed.
When you understand the root cause of what causes you to battle food, and you have someone support you to rewrite your story, so much food and life freedom and possibility are waiting for you. As you can see from my clients' stories, yes, you stop fighting food, and that is hugely relieving. And you also get back time, energy, and self-trust that would allow you to live a life aligned with your radical truth. Maybe that's a better job making more money, or it's parenting in your own style, or it's having deeper, more fulfilling relationships, or it's getting your period back so you can have children and having your skin clear up. I wonder, what would you choose to write into your story if you knew that you could?